Hello, everyone. Hope everyone is doing well. Sorry, I have been kind of off for a little bit. We just got into spring break and I went on a little trip to see my family, which was good. But I'm happy to be back and hoping to share something with y'all. I've kind of decided how I'm going to group my videos together finally. Instead of just kind of putting out random things, I'm just going to have them kind of situated. So if there's going to be a video about some advice that I can give to y'all, especially as early graphic designers. There's a lot that I would like to share just as you begin. I mean, this is stuff that, even though I'm still brand new, I would have liked to known this way before I begin my journey, just to kind of help me out in the future, obviously. So, and then I'll have a tutorial video, which will be kind of nice to have, especially since I'm getting more and more into Affinity, which I've been really liking the program. There's obviously a few things that I would like them to change to make it a little easier, kind of like Illustrator does, but it's been really good and I really have enjoyed everything about it. And it has been super easy to cross over the more and more time I spent on it. So it has been great. And the third type of video is kind of more of a how to present yourself kind of situation where I'll tell you a little bit on how to kind of make sure that you are aware of like certain things in industry, kind of like reviewing, or I should say more, different ways to interpret concepts and different things, kind of basically reviewing other people's work and just kind of giving my own 2 cents on what I think works and what doesn't work and my own views on certain things. So without further ado, this one is basically advice. I'm going to title this one How to Deal with Very Unique Customers, aka difficult customers. I've only had a few in the past that have been kind of difficult, and frankly, it was not an easier thing. And one of the biggest advices that I can say is that you can tell them no. That it's one of the biggest things I can say is that they hired you for a reason, right? It's to design. It's to truly think about how you want to interpret their prompt. And this is the thing. Now, there are two different kinds, I will say. One is a client that is difficult, where, you can give them an idea and it's like, no, that's not the direction that we wanted to go. And it's like, okay, that's just how I got the prompt. And you would communicate with like, okay, this is what I think. This is what you basically want me still in creative control, because that's what they hired you for, is to be the creative, to help them get from A to Z. That being said, it's okay to tell them, no, I don't think that's the direction that should be happening. From the prompt, this is what I gathered from it. And then you can kind of go back and forth. And let's just admit, people are people. Some days are better than others. We've all been there. We've all had bad days where, every little thing just, but maybe, okay, let's just talk about it, or, try to walk them through the process a little bit in terms of how you got from that point, is my biggest advice. Now, there's the other side. There are what I would like to call jerk customers. And I've had one in the past that was really bad. Okay, and a little story time here. This customer auditioned basically for a competition. And interesting conversation. This was like right when I was beginning into graphic design. So my skill level was 0 practically. Like I was still learning the program, still trying to do things. Now I actually was more involved in Photoshop rather than Illustrator, which looking back was my problem. Like I thought everything could be done in Photoshop. Not the case. So I made this like logo, kind of did a lot of photo manipulation and trying to really go ahead and make something unique for this event. They liked it and everything, but the guy that I was in communications with, he wanted me to do extra. And, being a young graphic designer, my skills weren't up to par necessarily, but I tried my best with what tools I had. And I did one, which was nice. Granted, it was a very difficult rope. It was like climbing a hill. First of all, this is the first time they did the competition, and he liked my work, and apparently he did use it, which was nice. But previously, they worked with an illustrative graphic designer, and they wanted me to do illustrations of each individual and do a bunch of these different things. And I was just like, I will try, but I can't, say the outcome will be great because I'm not an illustrative at the time. And I tried my best, and they just wanted the logo. And I was like, cool, done. But the back and forth emails, I won't lie, were pretty bad. Like, I was actually getting so frustrated that I just, at one point I was like, told my dad at the time, Dad, I'm going out for a walk because I'm getting frustrated. And he saw the emails when I was on a walk. He's like, you gotta be kidding me. So with those guys, there was a lot of red flags. A lot of red flags. One was, well, we went with another guy. Okay, fine. Two, this isn't the direction that we wanted to go to. Three, I want to, well, I'll pay you just because you already did the work. That was the biggest red flag. They didn't want to say that I won or not because they wanted me to do all these extra things. Now, was it a lot of money at the time? Absolutely. Should it have been more? Absolutely. Okay, and these red flags, you just kind of have to be aware. For the most part, you really got to take a listen to especially when you do prompts and they do all these different things. The one thing about prompts, specifically when you go through ChatGPT and everything, is that you can't really have a discussion. Now, granted, with ChatGPT, and I do recommend trying make it a prompt of, hey, make a design and be a very difficult customer. And you can kind of see how it is, but when you have that one-to-one face when you're doing a video call or a phone call, yeah, it becomes a very different beast to handle. So with that being said, I would recommend, keeping an eye and really ear of what's been said, what the direction is, because one of the biggest other red flags that you can possibly get is they will send you a bunch of different things and be like, we want this. And it's like, okay, cool. And then you give them something that feels like this without, ripping off the actual person that they want. And they're like, no, we want this. And it's like, well, that's not my style. That's someone else's, Sometimes you're going to have to make that choice between the paycheck and your dignity. I recommend dignity. Especially, one of the biggest things that I've kind of come to realize now is that, I would like to say that I specialize in branding, logo design for very specific areas. I've done 2 coffee shop startups, possibly. That hasn't been done yet, but they were my friends, and I decided to help them out. And a couple of them even paid me, which was nice. But, those I like versus that whole scenario where it was an event and a bunch of different things happen. And the sad truth is, one thing I did ask was a poster or something to kind of hey, this is my work. Never got that. Supposedly that little logo was on billboards and stuff. I've never seen it. And the sad part is that was my shouldn't say hometown, but the town I was living in. So yeah, that's kind of my advice when dealing with difficult customers is respectfully say no. Okay. You are creatively in charge and you need to kind of keep that, force when dealing with people. You can say no, even though when it feels like, hey, they're dangling, the paycheck right in front of you, that's when you really need to say, no, I think you need to look for someone else. I don't think I'm the right person. Because, this kind of goes to mental health. And creatives, we all know our mental health is superb, But I'm joking, obviously. But, it's not a headache that you need to like truly be thinking about all the time. You know, it's like, okay, fine. You gotta have that dignity to just kind of be like, you know what, enough is enough. I'm gonna take this job rather than this job, even though this job has a bigger paycheck. These people I like more, and I can work with them. And that's probably one of the biggest things that you can do for yourself is just find that passion and just keep going. Like I did one for a friend, you know, for her coffee shop, like I mentioned, and it had a space theme. It was coffee related, which I obviously enjoy coffee, and I had gotten into it hard. The more passion you have for a project, the better the outcome. And I mean, I presented so many logos to her, and she circled the ones she liked. We talked back and forth, like all these different things, and it just worked out. So I'm really hoping that that business, you know, opens up soon, and I can be like, hey, I made that, you know. And not true, she promised me free coffee, so that's always a plus. But yeah, that's kind of my advice for this video. Video number 2 will probably be in, you know, more about affinity, and like the last little part from the walkthrough videos is basically putting everything into a portfolio and kind of walking you guys through a portfolio, because I wish there are a lot of things that I wish I knew before going into it on the deep end. So yeah, but that's my advice. Hope you guys have a good day and just keep creating, guys. Just keep creating. Peace.